Happy Thursday, Cough Country citizens, and welcome to Cough Country News, your home for cannabis news. I'm Billo, and I will be your maestro in tonight's opera. Now, here's what we have for you. First, tonight, wanted to mention tomorrow is 710 Day, the unofficial cannabis holiday dedicated to concentrates. We'll explain why it's considered the second biggest celebration in cannabis culture after 420. Meanwhile, medical cannabis in Nebraska moves one step closer to becoming reality, but a legal challenge could still stand in the way. Then, a federal court ruling could give some cannabis companies access to bankruptcy protections for the very first time. Also, tonight, Illinois is closing what officials call a dangerous loophole, bringing intoxicating hemp under the same rules as legal cannabis. And finally, Georgia patients are getting more medical cannabis options as the state's program takes another major step forward. These stories and the answer to the question, what do you call a stoner with two spliffs, coming up next on Cough Country News.
I'm Rob Cantrell, and you're watching Cough Country TV. Right here, right now. This is it. You're watching it. Cough Country. You're in this country, cough it up. Cough it up for Cough Country TV. Right here, right now, on the internet and beyond. Media, television, pizza, weed, legalized.
Thanks, Jeff.
No sticks, no seeds, just news.
From the Cough Country News Desk, it's Billo with your cannabis news.
Thank you, Dominic, for that warm introduction. Welcome back, my friends. So, what do you call stoner with two spliffs? You call them double jointed. Tomorrow, July 10th, marks one of the biggest celebrations in cannabis culture. While 420 remains the industry's most recognized holiday, 710 is widely considered the second biggest celebration. So, why 710? Well, if you turn the number upside down, it kind of looks like it spells out the word oil. And that's how the unofficial holiday got its name. Today, 710 celebrates cannabis concentrates, including live resin, live rosin, wax, shatter, hash, and vape products. Across legal cannabis markets, many dispensaries mark the occasion with educational events, product launches, and special promotions. Because concentrates are often much more potent than traditional cannabis flower, experts recommend starting with a small amount, especially for new consumers. So, whether you call it 710 Day, Oil Day, Dab Day, it's become an annual celebration of cannabis innovation and the rapidly growing world of concentrates. Medical cannabis in Nebraska has cleared another major hurdle. The state's Attorney General has approved the first regulations governing registered medical cannabis businesses. But the program still faces legal challenges before patients can gain any access. Attorney General Mike Hilgers announced Tuesday that his office has approved the regulations submitted by Nebraska's Medical Cannabis Commission. Under Nebraska law, the Attorney General must review new agency regulations to determine whether they comply with state law and the state's constitution. Hilgers concluded that the regulations meet the legal requirements on their face, allowing them to move forward to Governor Jim Pillen for final review. Now, if approved, the regulations will become the framework for licensing medical cannabis businesses across Nebraska. But while the regulations have been approved, the Attorney General also issued a warning. His office says a lawsuit challenging the medical cannabis ballot initiative is still pending. That's before the Nebraska Supreme Court. That case, it questions whether enough ballot petition signatures were collected to place the measure before the voters. It's a technicality. If the court were to invalidate the initiative, the regulations could lose their legal authority. So despite those concerns, Hilgers said his review was limited to determining whether the regulations are legally authorized under the current law and not whether he supports medical cannabis as public policy. This decision marks an important victory, however, for patients, caregivers, and advocates who spent years working to legalize medical cannabis through the ballot box. Supporters say the regulations are another step towards providing safe, regulated access for qualifying patients across the state. The regulations now move to Governor J.B, who must decide whether to approve or reject them. And if signed, Nebraska will move one step closer to launching its voter-approved medical cannabis program. For now, patients, businesses, and regulators are watching closely as Nebraska continues building its medical cannabis industry while awaiting the outcome of the state's ongoing legal battle. Cannabis companies have spent years operating under a different set of rules than almost every other business in America. But now a federal court ruling could be changing that. A U.S. bankruptcy court has approved a restructuring plan that could provide some cannabis companies with access to federal bankruptcy protections for the very first time. The decision centers on the Cannabis Company, one of the nation's largest multi-state cannabis operators. For years, because cannabis remains illegal under federal law, licensed marijuana businesses have generally been barred from using traditional federal banking courts. That's forced many struggling companies to have to sell assets, close locations, or negotiate with creditors outside the bankruptcy system. Instead of filing under Chapter 11, the Cannabis Company used a different legal process known as Chapter 15 bankruptcy. Chapter 15 allows U.S. courts to recognize bankruptcy proceedings that begin in another country. And because the Cannabis Company is incorporated in Canada, the company first entered restructuring proceedings there. It then asked a U.S. bankruptcy court to recognize that Canadian process, allowing its restructuring efforts to receive federal legal protections inside of the United States. And the court agreed. Legal experts say the ruling could become an important precedent for other large cannabis companies with international operations. Now, of course, supporters say access to bankruptcy protections can help companies restructure debt, protect jobs, and continue operating instead of shutting down entirely. It's a tool available to thousands of other industries, but one the cannabis sector has largely been unable to use. Now, still, experts caution that this decision does not mean every cannabis company can now file for federal bankruptcy, and God, I hope that they do not. The ruling specifically applies to Chapter 15, which is designed for international cross-border cases. Traditional Chapter 11 bankruptcy for most U.S.-based cannabis businesses remains largely unavailable, while marijuana continues to be classified as a federally illegal substance, beg your pardon. But even so, industry observers say the decision marks another sign that federal courts are beginning to recognize the unique legal challenges facing state-licensed cannabis businesses. And while Congress has yet to change federal marijuana law, this ruling could provide financially struggling operators with a new path to survive during difficult times. For an industry still navigating conflicting state and federal laws, the decision may represent another small but significant step towards greater financial stability and legal recognition. Illinois is closing what state leaders call a dangerous loophole in the cannabis industry. Governor J.B. Pritzker says new regulations on intoxicating hemp are long overdue. The governor joined lawmakers and cannabis industry leaders in Chicago to highlight a sweeping new law that brings intoxicating hemp products under Illinois' existing cannabis regulations. Now, for years, products containing Delta-8 THC and other hemp-derived intoxicants were sold outside of Illinois' licensed cannabis system. This happens in many states, and we see it and we talk about it all the time. Many of those products could be found at smoke shops, gas stations, and convenience stores with fewer regulations than legal cannabis. Under the new law, those products will now be regulated much like adult-use cannabis. And that means stricter testing, child-resistant packaging, labeling requirements, and tighter oversight for products that contain intoxicating cannabinoids. cannabinoids. The law also immediately prohibits the sale of intoxicating hemp products to anyone under 21 years of age. Governor Pritzker says the goal is protecting consumers, especially children, from products that were often poorly labeled or packaged to resemble popular candy and snack brands. The legislation also expands medical cannabis access. Patients will now be able to purchase medical cannabis products from any licensed dispensary across Illinois instead of only the designated medical locations. Governor Pritzker says the changes are designed to create a stronger industry for patients, consumers, and businesses that have invested in Illinois' regulated cannabis market. He says, while licensed operators have followed strict rules, an unregulated hemp market created an uneven playing field and unnecessary risks. We've seen this over and over, and hopefully they're setting a standard which maybe other states can follow. But not everyone supports this new law. Some hemp businesses argue the regulations could hurt small retailers and leave uncertainty over where certain hemp-derived THC products can still be sold, specifically beverages. For Illinois state leaders, they say the debate is no longer whether intoxicating hemp should be regulated, but how it should be regulated. And with the new law now in place, Illinois becomes one of the latest states to place hemp-derived THC products under its regulated cannabis marketplace. Medical cannabis patients in Georgia are gaining more treatment options under a major expansion of the state's medical cannabis program. Beginning July 1st, new legislation officially took effect, allowing patients access to products that were previously unavailable. The changes come under Senate Bill 220, which significantly expands Georgia's medical cannabis law. Supporters say the goal is giving patients more choices while keeping the program strictly regulated. Among the biggest changes, registered patients can now purchase medical cannabis flower specifically intended for vaporization. Previously, Georgia patients were limited primarily to low THC oil products. Licensed producers, including Botanical Sciences, are already preparing new flower products for patients across the state. The company says the expansion offers physicians and patients additional treatment options. Patients will also gain access to medical cannabis vape products through licensed dispensaries. Supporters say vaporized cannabis can provide faster symptom relief than oils or edible products. And I think we all know that's true. Under the new law, Georgia also removes its previous 5% THC cap, replacing it with standards designed specifically for medical cannabis patients. The expanded program is expected to increase product availability as growers introduce new medical cannabis varieties for qualifying patients. Industry officials say months of preparation have gone into bringing these products to market while maintaining state quality and safety regulations. Patients must still receive approval from a licensed physician before participating in Georgia's medical cannabis program. The law also expands the list of qualifying conditions, adding lupus to patients already eligible for medical cannabis treatment. Supporters believe the expansion will improve quality of life for thousands living with serious medical conditions. Medical cannabis continues to be available only through Georgia's licensed program and only for registered patients who meet state requirements. For patients, it's the biggest change to Georgia's medical cannabis system since the program first launched, making another step in the state's slow expansion of medical cannabis access. Now, coming up on Cough Country News after the break, could CBD and CBG help fight fatty liver disease? A new study is showing promising results. Plus, the biggest cannabis mistakes usually aren't about the product itself. We'll show you 5 common mistakes that every consumer should avoid. And New Mexico has already destroyed more than 15,000 pounds of illegal cannabis. And officials say they're not done yet. 2,600 pounds destroyed. Okay, update to the story. All this and the answer to the question, what's the difference between stoners and politicians? Coming at you after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Is your cannabis company still using smoke signals to advertise? There's a better way.
Yo, what up? It's Shice Bubs, Mr. Ike Key, and you're watching Cough Country TV. You heard? Hey! This is Vinny Idol D Block, man, hailing out the Bronx, and you're watching Cough Country TV. Yeah!
Welcome back, folks. So, what's the difference between stoners and politicians? Politicians don't inhale, they suck. Could components found inside the cannabis plant one day help fight one of the world's most common liver diseases? A new scientific study suggests the answer could eventually be yes. Researchers at Hebrew University of Jerusalem have found that two non-intoxicating cannabinoids, CBD and CBG, showed promising results in reducing fatty liver disease during clinical testing. The findings offer new insight into how cannabinoids can one day become part of future treatments for metabolic diseases. The disease is known as metabolic dysfunction-associated cetonic liver disease, or MASLD. Now, you may remember it from its former name, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and why we changed from that, I don't know. But today, medical experts say MASLD affects roughly 1 out of every 3 adults worldwide. The condition has become one of the fastest growing chronic liver diseases in the world. Its rise closely mirrors increasing rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. While many people experience few symptoms during the early stages of the disease, it can gradually progress from simple fat buildup to liver inflammation, fibrosis, cirrhosis, and in severe cases, liver cancer or liver failure. Doctors say the earlier the disease is detected, the better the chances of preventing permanent liver damage. To better understand whether cannabinoids could help, researchers studied CBD and CBG in laboratory mice fed a high-fat diet. After 4 weeks, both cannabinoids significantly reduced fat accumulation inside of the liver. They also improved blood sugar control and lowered harmful blood lipids. Researchers say the compounds appear to work by improving how liver cells produce energy and recycle damaged cellular material. The study found that CBD and CBG boosted cellular energy while restoring the function of lysosomes, which are tiny structures that help to remove excess fat from liver cells. Among the two compounds, CBG produced the strongest results. Now, researchers observed greater improvements in insulin sensitivity, lower LDL or bad cholesterol, and reduced body fat when compared with untreated animals. Medical experts say the findings are encouraging because MASLD currently has very few approved drug treatments. A new therapeutic option is urgently needed. But experts also stress that patients should not rush to self-medicate with cannabis products. This research was performed in mice, not people. Human clinical trials will still be necessary to determine whether these benefits can be safely reproduced in patients. For now, physicians continue to recommend healthy eating, regular exercise, weight management, and controlling your diabetes as the best ways to prevent or slow fatty liver disease. But still, researchers say the study highlights something becoming increasingly clear, and that is that cannabis contains far more than just THC. Compounds like CBD and CBG continue to reveal potential medical applications that extend well beyond pain or epilepsy. While much more research is still needed, scientists believe these cannabinoids could someday become part of a new generation of therapies designed to treat metabolic diseases and improve liver health. The biggest cannabis mistakes usually aren't about the product. They're about how it's used. Now, whether you're new to cannabis or have years of experience, avoiding a few common mistakes can make all of the difference. One of the most common mistakes is taking too much of an edible. I think we all know someone who's done this, or we've done it ourselves. Unlike smoking or vaping, edibles can take 30 minutes to 2 hours to fully take effect. Now, experts say taking another dose too soon is one of the biggest reasons people experience an unpleasant or overwhelming high. And really, we had to go to the experts for this one. So the advice is simple. Start low, and go slow. Give the edible plenty of time before deciding whether you need more. Another mistake is chasing high THC numbers. Many consumers believe the higher the THC percentage, the better the cannabis. But experts caution that that's not always true. The overall experience also depends on cannabinoids, terpenes, and how those compounds work together. A balanced strain with rich terpene content may provide a better experience than simply choosing the product with the highest THC. Another common mistake is mixing cannabis with alcohol. Using both together can increase intoxication, bringing on dizziness, nausea, or impaired judgment. If you're consuming cannabis, many experts recommend avoiding alcohol or using extra caution. Storage is another area where people overlook. Cannabis products should always be kept in their original, child-resistant packaging and stored away from children, pets, heat, and direct sunlight. Proper storage helps preserve both safety and product quality. Finally, don't ignore the dosage guidance. Every product is different. So whether it's flower, vape cartridges, concentrates, or edibles, always read the label and follow the recommended serving size. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask your bud tender or a healthcare provider. Cannabis can be enjoyed responsibly when consumers understand how different products work and take the time to consume carefully. The best cannabis experience doesn't come from using more, it comes from using it wisely. Knowledge is one of the most important tools for every cannabis consumer, and sometimes the smartest choice is simply chill out, take it slow. So what do you get after eating too many cannabis edibles? A pot belly. All right. New Mexico's Cannabis Enforcement Bureau is stepping up its fight against illegal cannabis market. State officials say they've already destroyed thousands of pounds of illegal cannabis since the Bureau was created. Now, according to the New Mexico Regulation and Licensing Department, the Cannabis Enforcement Bureau has destroyed more than 2,600 pounds of illegal cannabis since beginning operations in 2024. Oh, the humanity of it. Officials say those seizures came from investigations targeting unlicensed cultivation, illegal manufacturing, and unauthorized sales. State regulators say the goal isn't simply to seize the cannabis, it's to protect licensed businesses that follow New Mexico's laws while keeping unregulated products out of the marketplace. Investigators say licensed growers must comply with strict requirements covering cultivation, testing, tracking, packaging, and product safety. Illegal operations avoid many of those regulations, if not all of them, creating an unfair advantage over legal businesses. The Cannabis Enforcement Bureau works alongside state agencies and local law enforcement to investigate illegal grows, unlicensed dispensaries, and cannabis products being sold outside New Mexico's regulated system. Officials say those investigations help protect consumers while preserving confidence in the state's legal cannabis industry. New Mexico legalized adult use cannabis in 2021 and sales began the following year. Since then, the legal industry has continued to grow, bringing new jobs, new businesses, and millions of dollars in tax revenue. State officials say strong enforcement is essential to ensuring that growth continues. And regulators say their message is straightforward. If you're growing, processing, or selling cannabis in New Mexico, you must operate within the state's licensing system. Officials say enforcement efforts against illegal operations will continue as the legal cannabis market continues to expand. State leaders say protecting licensed cannabis businesses and consumers remains one of the Bureau's highest priorities as New Mexico's regulated cannabis industry continues to mature. Coming up, a British cannabis farm owner is found dead inside a luxury home in Thailand. Now, his girlfriend has been arrested as police continue their investigation. Plus, the Elite Eight is officially complete. Voting opens tonight as you decide which legendary land race advances to the Final Four in the World Cup of Cannabis. And before you go, Steve is going to join us for a special update on Season 2 of The Canologist. All this and much more right after the break. We'll be right back.
Is your cannabis company still using smoke signals to advertise? There's a better way.
How many black people have you seen in Maine? Have you seen a black man here? Yeah, other than me. Why isn't there no black people here? Have you seen any black folks other than me here? Why do you think there's no black people here?
I hope one day you get some, and hopefully in those 2-3 strokes, you don't catch a stroke, you don't pass away. All I know is this man is desperate and he needs a shorty.
Welcome back, folks. A British woman has been arrested in Thailand after police say her boyfriend, a cannabis farm operator, was found stabbed to death inside a luxury rental home. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing. Thai police say officers responded to the home near Pattaya after a friend became concerned that he couldn't reach the victim. Inside, they found 34-year-old Thomas David Powell dead in a bathroom with multiple stab wounds. Investigators say there were signs of a struggle throughout the home, including blood in several rooms. Police also say they recovered a large knife that appears to have been washed and left in the sink. Police arrested the victim's 21-year-old British girlfriend at the scene, and authorities say she initially claimed her boyfriend had injured himself, but investigators say the physical evidence did not support that explanation. According to investigators, the couple had recently moved into the rental property and planned to remain in Thailand. The victim reportedly operated a cannabis farm in the Pattaya area. And police say the woman told investigators the couple had smoked cannabis after spending time shopping for engagement rings. Authorities say she later told officers she couldn't remember what happened afterwards. Investigators are continuing to review forensic evidence and surveillance footage as part of the case. Thailand's police have formally opened a homicide investigation. The UK's Foreign Office says it is assisting the families of both British nationals and is working with Thai authorities as the investigation continues. The police have not announced a motive and the investigation remains active. Authorities say additional forensic testing and witness interviews will help to determine exactly what happened inside of the home. Now, the Elite Eight is officially complete and the bracket is down to just 4 regional championship matchups. The next round of the World Cup of Cannabis 2026 begins tonight, and now it's your turn to decide who advances to the Final Four. After another exciting round of competition, the winners have been decided. Advancing to the regional championships are Colombian Gold, Acapulco Gold, Beldia Kedema, Swazi Gold, Afghan Landrace, Thai Stick, Lebanese Landrace, and Moroccan Landrace. Congratulations to every strain that earned its place in the Elite Eight, but only 4 can move on. In the Americas, it's a battle between 2 absolute legends, Colombian Gold versus Acapulco Gold. One classic will represent the entire Americas for the Final 4. Now over in Africa, 2 iconic land races go head-to-head. Beldia Kedema takes on Swazi Gold for the African Regional Championship. Asia features another heavyweight matchup, Afghan Landrace versus Thai Stick. Only one will survive and earn a spot in the semifinals. And in the Middle East, it's Lebanese Landrace versus Moroccan Landrace, a battle of legendary genetics with the regional title on the line. Voting officially opens tonight and will continue through Tuesday. You can cast your vote on our social media pages or join the official Cough Country TV Discord, where you can vote, debate each matchup, and talk with other cannabis enthusiasts and stay up to date on every round of the tournament. Just scan the QR code you had up there on the screen, join the community, and help to decide who advances to the Final 4. 4 regions, 4 championship matchups, 4 tickets to the Final 4. Voting starts tonight and closes Tuesday. Make your picks, cast your vote, and we'll reveal the regional champions right here on Cough Country TV. Now, before we wrap things up, I have a special exciting announcement for all of our Canologist fans. I'm excited to tell you that the Canologist, Steve, is officially returning for season 2. We've been working hard behind the scenes, working on a brand new studio, new topics, and some exciting changes that we can't wait to share with all of you. Now, we're hoping to have Steve in the studio tonight, but as things go, everything doesn't always work out. So, we're looking forward to launching season 2 and sharing everything we've been working on. Oh, so I'm hearing from the office that we will have Steve next week, so that'll be exciting. Something to look forward to. Okay, they're telling me that we've got a quick peek of his studio. You want to bring it up on camera? Here? All right, bring it full screen. Yeah. Look at that. That is swanky. So Steve will be behind the bar mixing up his drinks. We'll have some guests sitting in front of the bar. And you know you know how it goes after that. Steve will talk to you. Steve will tell you what he's making, how the ingredients were made. And, you know, of course, Steve makes a lot of his own ingredients, so it should be a really fun season. I'm really looking forward to it, I can tell you that. On Discord? Okay. So I'm hearing from the booth. We want to invite you into the studio. We want to have you guys sit with Steve. We will have a panel sitting with him. If you're interested in coming into the studio and meeting Steve and being on the show, check out our social medias, check out our Discord server, put your name in, and we'll contact you. You could be on the show right there. Scan the QR code. We'll be announcing the official premiere date for Season 2, Episode 1 very soon, right here on Cough Country TV and across our social media channels. So stay tuned, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. And before we wrap up, I've got one more exciting announcement. The High Times New Jersey Cannabis Cup Winners Circle show is coming up on Sunday, July 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Cough Country TV. This is your chance to meet some of the winning brands behind this year's Cannabis Cup and hear directly from the people who helped make this competition so special. Joining us will be award-winning brands including Glass Meadows, Good Times Flower, Loud Labs, Magic Garden Botanicals, and The Grow Father. And that's not all. We'll also have some incredible influencers and special guests joining the conversation. What you've seen announced so far is really, it's just the beginning. We're still adding more brands, more creators, and more surprise guests into the lineup. So if you're a fan of cannabis, a fan of the Cannabis Cup, or you just want to hear from some of the biggest names in the New Jersey cannabis community, you won't want to miss this. Mark your calendars. Sunday, July 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Cough Country TV. Let's have a look at the set. Bring the set up real quick. This is the Winner's Circle set. I think, are we going to have leather in there, leather couches? We don't have the furniture yet. Talked to Amazon, but we're going to have some nice leather couches there. This is going to be the set. That's a really cool set. So we'll see you there. And before we head out, if you missed last night's Late Night Green Show, don't worry, you can catch the full replay right now. Last night's episode was co-hosted by, am I saying it right, Billo? Billo from the New Jersey Dispensary Review channel. And we had another great conversation covering everything happening in the cannabis community. So if you missed it live or you just want to watch it again, the replay is available now on the Late Night Green Show on the YouTube channel and also on the Cough Country TV YouTube channel. So after tonight's show, head over, check out the replay, and make sure you're subscribed to both channels so you never miss our latest content. Thanks again to Billo for joining us, and we'll see you on the next Late Night Green Show. And that's going to do it for this edition of Cough Country News. As always, thank you for making us your trusted source for cannabis news from across the world and across the country. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the Cough Country TV YouTube channel. And don't forget to join our official Discord community where you can chat with fellow Cough Country citizens, vote in the World Cup of Cannabis, and stay up to date on everything happening right here on Cough Country TV. So until next time, I'm Billo, and remember, no sticks, no seeds, just news. Have a great night. We'll see you next time right here on Cough Country TV.
No sticks, no seeds, just news.